I'm delighted to be joined by Adam Frost today, TV presenter, author, and award-winning star of Chelsea, who's going to be on tour in the UK and has a new book out in March. Hello, Adam. How are you today?
Hello. I'm all right, mate. That sort of overplays me a little bit, doesn't it? It sort of makes me sound like I'm sort of bright. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. You?
I'm good, thank you. It's Blue Monday today,
Is it?
apparently. Yeah, it's the most depressing day of the year.
Well, that's great. I didn't know that until you told me. I'd have been quite happy just to ignore it and
Yeah,
carry
it's
on.
the best way. It's the best
Yeah.
way. I do like to ask people about their mental health, though, Adam. So, how do you take care of yours? And I'm wondering whether you feel the effects of winter as well, as we all
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I do. I sort of, I'm obviously garden, but actually, to be fair, part of the tour is about the that sort of connection with mental health and something that happened to me. So Um, yeah, it's just make it. To be fair with me, a lot of it is physicality. So if it and light levels, so I need to be out and I need to do things. Um, and I think over the years I've just become aware of that. I always struggle those first couple of weeks after Christmas. And actually, weirdly though, this is meant to be the depressing day. It was sort of last week. Life starts to get reasonably busier again. And last week I felt a bit better, and it was the 2 weeks previous that I didn't feel over great. So yeah, it's keep busy. My old nan would say, "Busy hands, busy hands." Yeah,
And you mentioned your nan there. We spoke last time about your grandparents, and I just wanted to touch on that again, please, because I love the story about how your grandparents' allotment inspired
yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, I sort of, and again, I mean, partly the sort of book and that is. This started. I mean, I had quite a difficult childhood, so literally my grandparents played a massive part in my life. So I had sort of tidy nan and I had scruffy nan, and um, tidy nan had that allotment, nan and granddad, and it was the weekends on the allotment and the classic sort of rectangular 70s lawn, little rockery, concrete path, washing line. But she was a bit of a control freak, so she would tie everything up within an inch of its life when it, looked untidy in the gardens. And but it was a safe place to be, But if I wasn't with them, I was along the road with Scruffy Nan, and they both had quite high flying jobs. So Grandad was a gun engineer, and but at the weekends they lived quite a bohemian existence, I suppose. They sort of were a little on the wild side. Never threw anything away. So my nan had these Belfast sinks all around the garden that were these little worlds, and we were just allowed. There was freedom there. We were allowed to go out from the moment it was light till it was dark, and yeah, it was amazing. And there are times, I suppose, that I dip into that a lot. Really, I dip into relationships with nans and granddads, and yeah, yeah.
And which one
But
would you say you're more on the tidy nan side or the scruffy grandparents
in
side?
in my behaviour patterns, Mrs.
Yeah,
Frost would
tidy.
say I'm on the scruffy nan side. Um, I hopefully in my nature I'm on tidy Nan's side. So yeah, a bit of both. I don't think I'm as scruffy as Mrs. Frost thinks I'm scruffy, to be honest. But then she's a bit like tidy Nan. She's a bit controlling, and everything has its place, and this, that, and the other. So yeah, we have moments in this house. My kids are mixed as well, so I've got some tidy kids and some not so tidy kids.
I mean, it's a balance, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I'm always tidy in my head.
Are
You know.
you? That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
as long as I know where something is, it doesn't have to look tidy. As long as I can find something, that's all I worry about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And how's your garden now? It looks lovely from the last update we had.
yeah, it's looking all right. I mean, obviously, I mean, to be fair, I was out over the weekend, and I'm looking out the window now, so there's still. But yeah, the bulbs are starting to pop up through. So one or two little snowdrops starting to just show their heads, and I've got some species tulips. The leaves are coming up. I've seen some little iris reticulata. They're starting to show. So yeah, things are just starting to push through the ground. So give it a few weeks, and yeah, that first sort of real flush of bulbs will start to come alive. Yeah,
Those early ones are really important, aren't they? Like the snowdrops, just to give us a bit of
yeah,
hope.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just to provide a smile, don't they?
Yeah, we spoke about geraniums last time because they reminded you of, I don't know if it was tidy nan or scruffy nan.
Geraniums are definitely a tidy nan plant. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're tidy nan plants. So she would like the old pelargoniums, which is the sort of half hardy ones that we grow in our pots and containers. I probably now favour a lot of the sort of hardy geraniums that grow happily in the garden. But yeah, definitely, I would definitely say they're a tidy nan plant. But yeah,
They smell like sunshine as well, don't they?
yeah, they
They've got.
do. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah.
I know you've done a lot, Adam, to help youngsters who don't necessarily thrive in an academic setting at school. I just wondered if we could touch on that quickly because
Yeah.
it's still, gardening is still not really treated as a career path in the same way as lots of artistic careers.
I love the way you guided that question.
Yeah,
That
was
was very
that
lovely, actually.
was that a bit
It's lovely.
manipulative?
Yeah, so what you're really saying is that the horticulture is still sold to the likes of me, who's not very clever. I mean, I was dyslexic. I was that kid that you could be a chef, Frost, join the army, or be a gardener because you're not going to equate to a lot else. Um, and sadly, you're right. It's still in places. It's getting better, but still in places. Horticulture um, is sold to the less academic, which I find bizarre. I find it that bizarre in the sense that not only is it an industry that you can go into and train as a horticulturalist and then end up in sciences, end up in the arts, end up in retail, the endless jobs that go on in horticulture is crackers, but also why anything using your hands has to necessarily be given to people that don't feel necessarily fit. Let's be honest, an education system that we work within is like that, and yet society is like that. So yeah, just going out and talking to young people about. I always say, actually, do you know, if I didn't know what to do, a young person go and train in horticulture for a few years, because you're learning a skill set that's going to carry you through life, and it's very likely to lead you in various different directions. So it's getting better. Saying that, it is getting better. It's getting better um, on the basis that there's more schools talking about it, in a positive way, and I think we have got people coming into horticulture, interestingly, from geography, because I think in a school setup it was always obviously biology, and biology in our schools is mostly animal centric, whereas actually, we don't learn much about plants. But interestingly, some of the people that I've met, younger ones coming into it, have come into through geography and more environmentally. But yeah, I just think it's a great industry to get involved in.
Mm. And you're helping people's lives as well, aren't you?
Yeah, and like I say, even if you don't 100% know what you want to do with the rest of your life, you think about it, go and train in horticulture for 3 years. Let's be honest, most of the youngsters leaving school now are going to probably be working until they're nearly 80. But you go and train, learn how to look after a garden, learn how to grow your food. Those bits are not, they're going to be of value at some point in your life, even if you drift off and do something else. So yeah, I keep shouting about it, and hopefully, keep spreading the word and keep pushing people. That's all we can do, isn't it?
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, you're doing a
Mm.
great job. Could you tell us a little bit about your book, Adam, please, for the love of art?
Yes. So interestingly, you said about the sort of the the mental health bits. I mean, the book really. So the last tour I did, strangely enough, the first tour, which I didn't think anyone was going to turn up to. I thought it was like just one big joke. Well, Frosty, what you want to do? We're going to send you on tour. We're going to send you around the country. You're going to walk out on the stage, and people are going to turn up and listen to you waffle on. Like, no, they're not. Anyway, they did. But that tour finished, strangely enough, because at the time we were going through a lot as a family. And my wife had been poorly, and one of my Littons had been poorly, and then the wheels came off me, we moved house. Anyway, this moving house became quite a big thing in the little media world, you know. And so all of a sudden, the papers were phoning up and this, and you know, what? Why are you moving? You're leaving this big farmhouse with this massive garden. Anyway, the reality was, I got locked in a room with COVID. The wheels came off, and then I'm sat with a psychiatrist, and he's gone. You got burnout and depression, and so I finished the last tour with being honest with people on the stage and saying, look, you've only really turned up because you want to know why I've moved.
Yeah.
um, and I shared the story. So I finished the tour with saying, you know, we've simplified life because of this. Anyway, this next tour is going to start with how we finished the last tour. So it's going to start locked in a room. But then that conversation with the psychiatrist, and out of that, this love of plants and gardening, why and where's it taken me. But also what came out of it is I've got a huge connection with music, and I've used music all the way through my life, you know. And the book really is about, it's about moving, it's about creating a new garden, but each part's got song attached to it. And the plants, there's 150 plants in it, and some of them reference what we talked about, those ones that I first picked up with Tidy Nan as Gruffy Nan, and then through my days with Jeff Hamilton, the plants that, and up to date with the stuff that I'm using now, you know. So I look upon them as some old friends and new people, you know, and people in your life. So it bounces about the book really. So and that will become ultimately the stage show, with we're thrown in with some naughty stories of places I've been, the pickles I've got myself into along the way. And I think the book's quite personal. I'm just halfway through doing it as an audio, um, which is a bizarre experience.
It
Yeah,
must be, yeah.
oh mate, honestly, I mean, this is a kid, right? So I'd spent my life as a youngster, um, you know, when you're in English, yeah, and it was coming around the classroom, you were gonna have to read out loud.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm dyslexic, all right. So at the time, I didn't know I was dyslexic. So I'm at this point going, how do I get out of this classroom? And so actually, in reality, I would do whatever it takes. I'd rather be sat and have the slipper from the headmaster than I would read out loud. Anyway, fast forward 30 years, I'm doing this book, order, you know, as an audio as well. So literally, we did 3 days last week, and we're doing a couple of days this week, reading out loud. And like, "Well, what am I doing? What am I doing?" But it's interesting because ultimately, you know, I finished the book probably 8 months ago. Um, so it's been a nice way to go back in and reading it, but it's exhausting,
Mm,
absolutely exhausting. Sort of, yeah, being dyslexic, your mind, it bounces anyway, you know.
mm.
But yeah, it's been crackers. But I'm not sure even how I got onto that one. But there you go.
I can totally relate to that. That was me. I would climb out of windows at job
Oh
interviews and
yeah,
anything, just that escape
yeah,
reflex.
yeah.
What would young Adam say now about you, you know, publishing books and reading aloud and on stage?
You're having a laugh. So honestly, I mean, it's another thing I suppose going into schools. You said about the youngsters. You know,
Mm,
I trying to make even trying to my kids. I think my older two get it now, but I think one thing the psychiatrist said to me at one point was, you know, we were about 6 months in, and he pointed out to me in one session like that this, you know, the head man is just like, do you feel? I reckon like statistically you don't exist. I said what? He said, think about your past, where you come from, you know, what you're doing now. If you'd been fired into a computer system, statistically, you're probably such a small percentage of something that you probably don't show up on a graph, you know, which blew my mind a little bit. But I just don't think the young me would have believed any of it. And I don't think I ever set out to, I never really set out to do it. All I wanted from being sick, I left home at 16, and all I wanted was life to be a bit better than it was. And what happened was the harder I worked, the better life got a little bit, you know. And
lucky you
um,
got.
yeah, which is weird because interestingly, what they reckon is part of me being ill in my 50s is that if you don't change some of those survival habits you have as a youngster, by the time you get into your late 40s, your early 50s, those survival habits start to unpick you. Yeah, so that's been fascinating as well, sort of understanding how the brain works and how we are as human beings. But yeah.
And music's such a force, isn't it? For
Oh,
so, if you had to pick two or three songs to lift your mood, what would you put
mate.
on?
But yeah, to lift my mood. There's one song that I write about I mean, it's sort of which picked it out by the family. So I said to there's one part of the garden that's all about the family. And it's and we've seen them live, interestingly. And I put in our family group chat, right, I need one song that gets this family going. And they all came back with Mr. Brightside by the Killers. They
Oh,
literally, because we've seen the Killers live, and there's some wonderful pictures of us all going absolutely crackers. And talk about in the book that music's for different things. So I would say to provide a smile, because I know in my head that song would come on, and wherever my kids were in the world, if they were at a party, they would start jumping up and down to that song. Mrs. Frost included. So I think that's a great song for my family. Um, just for me, um, yeah, probably an old one like sort of Johnny Nash. I can see clearly now that sort of vibe of a song. That I've always liked from a kid that idea that in that song where that idea of I can see clearly now the rain's gone. And I love in music, especially in lyrics that how you can relate it to parts of your life and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, but that's endless. That's endless. I sort of I get totally and utterly lost in music. Totally lost. Yeah.
that's wonderful. And being so active with your garden, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, do you watch much telly? Do you watch? Is
Um
there you enjoy
not
gardening otherwise, or do you just not?
yeah. No, 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 we do. Not normally the drama things that come, we don't, I mean, don't watch telly like like you used to, do you? But normally, over the last 25 odd years, it would be that 9 o'clock when that drama came on at 9 o'clock. It would be then sit down and watch the telly, for an hour. That would be that time. Yeah, but the telly world is driven by her ladyship, known as Mrs. Frost. So that's yeah, we're watching this tonight. Yeah, yeah, all right, babe, we're watching this tonight. So yeah, she's um actually interestingly, the picture that I've got behind me, look, is the Peaky
Oh,
Blinders. Yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah, so she loves the
Oh,
Peaky Blinders, and
yeah.
so this little room, this little snug room that we come into in the evening, and it's got pictures of the Peaky Blinders on the room. She loves well, I think she loves a naughty boy. I think that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would say a drama. 9 o'clock, sit down and watch a bit of telly. Mm,
And Mrs. Frost, we spoke last time that you've been
yeah,
propositioned a few times by women in supermarkets, and
yeah.
we've got yeah. Could you? How's that going? Is that still happening? And is she
Yeah,
still?
I mean, the cat goes on. She just chucks me under the bus. She thinks it's really hilarious. It's sort of like my sort of eyes just go, help. And, I sort of, yeah, I suppose I come across as being, um, I go, I talk on a telly, I talk on a stage, and I'm reasonably sort of confident of that sort of stuff. But actually, I'm
So do you
not
get
great with.
and and what do you get weird? Do you get accosted in weird in weird ways still?
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, that audiobook's a prime example, all right. We were joking about it last week because I can't repeat what we obviously chat in the family, and so Joe, who's my oldest Ab's boyfriend, they're getting married next October. So we normally update what we're doing in the week. Anyway, it came out last week that I was doing this audiobook. Anyway, I can't say what he put in it, what he replied to, but it was along the lines of, and it took me back to one story. I was at a show, and a lady suggested to me that I should do audiobooks, and I said, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm dyslexic, so it's not really my thing, like trying to watch his own conversation," and then literally said to me that I'm going to try and put this in the nicest possible way, that my voice did certain things, and obviously she could take the audiobooks to bed at night.
Good for her. I mean,
I
why
like.
not?
Why not? Yeah, in fact, I can imagine me going pale, but that, and I come out with something really classic, like, oh, that's nice. That would be my return, and I could feel myself after I'm walking away. I could feel myself. I was going back to where we were filming at this show. I could feel myself literally getting just a little bit quicker as I was walking away. It's like, oh no, but yeah,
Well,
it's yeah,
it's
life's yeah, life's it's mad, isn't it? It's mad, really. But yeah, you just got
great.
to laugh.
Great.
Yeah.
It's not
You
much,
got-
is it? To be that blunt. But have you ever been starstruck, Adam, meeting anyone apart from people propositioning you and saying naughty things? Is there
Um,
anyone you've met that has blown you away?
no, I've met loads of people that have blown me away, that I've loved being in their company, and I've got some incredibly talented people that I suppose are classed as friends now. But I'm not really um, people are people. So
Mm.
it doesn't matter who. Apparently, one of the reasons I get to send to do some of the interviews, i.e., I've interviewed the King on Gardener's World. Went off to last year. Went off to Ireland to interview Adam Clayton, from U2 about his garden. Apparently, I get sent to do those because I talk to everybody the same. And I suppose that's my answer to that, is that people are just people. If I find you interesting, then you're interesting. If I find you nice, then you're nice. If I think you're rude, I'll walk away. So I don't really. I feel very lucky and very privileged that I've met the people I have, but the people I tend to be drawn to are the people that I find interesting. If that makes sense, does it? Does that make any sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, I tell you what we did. Saying that, being blown away, just genuinely being blown away. The funniest thing to happen is we got invited to we got invited to Hootenanny.
Okay, yeah. How was it then?
Jules Holland. Oh my. Well, we used to joke, like we'd be Mrs. Frost and I sat in bed, having a glass of something on a New Year's Eve and watching. I watch Hootenanny every year, if I'm about. And she would always say, "Do you know what? If you get on this, you've made it." Anyway, we went this year. It was like the best New Year's party I'd ever been to, and that sort of stuff blows my mind. That blows my mind, to be in a room, 3 stages, watching Jules not only work the audience, come and talk to us a lot that sat on the floor, on the floor bit, talk to the bands, play a piano, and with no real sort of auto cue apart from names, and then to watch this group of musicians literally bang, and Bob Geldof was there, Roger Taylor was there from, and then some new ones. There was a great little band called, quite a big band, but called Jungle. A girl called Seamat who was laying on the floor, and it was just this like experience was just incredible to be in a room of people with that much talent, that stuff. I go, wow, that was and plus I found out that at the end, I've always loved going watching Jules and his band, and Ruby Turner, who sings for Jules a lot now, and I've always loved Ruby Turner, and at the end, the best bit, when you say about those moments when your mouth drops open, Ruby's walking across the floor, and I said, hello Ruby, Adam, and great night, and then again, I'm not great at that stuff, so Mrs. Frost is much better at that than me. Anyway, Ruby said, I've had a great night. She said, I can't believe I've just met my favourite gardener.
There you
And at
go.
that was the moment. What? And then Mrs. Frost came over and then said, Ruby, that was me. I know. Well, just stop, Ruby. Can you just tell Mrs. Frost what you've just said to me? So yeah, so I do have those moments, and then yeah, bless her. And then I sort of messaged Ruby just to say thanks for a great night, and we've been invited to Ronnie Scott's later on in the year. So yeah, those moments of like, whoa, this is mad, but yeah, musicians, I think, yeah, probably a group of people I just think there's a magical talent you know in musicians. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
brilliant.
bless.
Well,
No,
you deserve it, Adam. Can I just ask you one? Well, I'd like to know first of all, just if
cool.
you have essential bit of garden kit that you can't be without. There are tools.
Yeah, well, probably two. I've got sort of Japanese secateurs that I probably invested in when I was in Japan about sort of, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. Um, Actually, they're not expensive out there, but so I've always used Japanese secateurs since because they were incredible. And also a little Dutch planting trail, which is the thing that I get asked about the most, probably. I get asked about Ash the cat
Yeah.
and where did you get your planting trail from? So they're probably two things that are sort of precious to me.
And if you had a magic wand, what would you wish for?
Oh wow. Magic wand, just to live in a nicer world. That's it. Simples. You know, to put the news on in the morning and all was good with the world would be I mean I'd need some magic wand, wouldn't I? But you know, hence really going out in the garden and losing yourself. But yeah, I think that's, you know, it sounds a bit obvious, but I think that would have to be it.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing,
No,
and
bless you.
be happy to yeah, involve you in everything going forward. And looking forward to reading your book and seeing you on tour.
No, well, I look forward to seeing you.